guys, it's Jassy and I'm so happy to present this video to you. I want to say huge thanks to David from October Promotion and to Markus from Nuclear Blast Headquarters for making that possible. It was such an honor to me to finally meet Per from SABATON. Since SABATON is a band I really like to listen to, I love their songs, I love their compositions and also their kind of concept art they're doing with every album. Of course, I want to say many thanks to Per for taking his time. This was my very first interview ever with a person I look up to. And when I got to the headquarters, I was really like shivering inside since it was so surreal to talk with a person you just know from DVDs or music videos and you enjoy their music. So I have prepared some questions and I really hope they were like interesting enough to talk about, and I try to avoid to ask some standard questions but also including standard questions in order to get into a talking flow. Per was like doing so much to make me feel comfortable so that I can just talk with him to make an actual conversation. And in the beginning it was like, what is the question? What is the question? Oh, he reacted, what should I say? Oh, awesome. I just stood there or sat there and all I said was awesome or that's cool. And then I was like, oh my god, that's so stupid. But yeah, that was my first experience with interviewing an idol. You're a really inspiring person, Per.
Give me 3 words that might explain what SABATON is for you.
I think that SABATON definitely are a heavy metal band. We sing about history and we are having a lot of fun while doing so.
3 words that describe you personally.
Okay, I'm enthusiastic and I am curious and I am in a good mood.
That's always really great. And speaking about curiosity, something that really interests me. You didn't firstly start as a band that really sings about great historical wars. And it kind of developed this way, I think. And what was the major turning point that you decided for yourselves, okay, we devote our songwriting to historical wars, battles, etc.?
We wanted to write about something that was from the real world, not fictional, not fantasy, not personal, but we wanted to write about something that mattered. And I think that I always had a little bit of interest about this topic. And when I watched a movie, for example, or when you still watch a movie, if it starts with, a little bit of a thing writing like this movie is inspired by real events, then I get more excited and I don't know that I will probably like this one a little bit more.
Great. Right. And this leads me right to the next question, because I want to talk a bit about your highly awaited upcoming album, Great War, will be released on the 19th of July. Would you state it's the best record you have written so far? Because I've read some statements of your bandmate Joachim and of you, and you were really hyped, and you seem really hyped about this release.
Of course, it's our best album. Everybody has to say that. No, it's too early to say. Once we have created an album, it's a bit too close at heart, so we need a little bit of distance to it. So let's say when it's released, when we have started playing the songs live a little bit, and when we have been touring a bit, and when we have received a little bit of feedback from it, let's say in maybe a little bit more than half a year from now on, I will be able to answer more, because then I think that I have a better opinion myself about the new album. I know that it's a good album, we feel it, and we also have a bit of feedback from people who have heard the album, and they all say it's a good album. So I'm not worried, and I don't think that our fans need to have anything to be worried about either. It is a great album, and I'm excited to present it to fans and see the reactions. But I'm not worried that there will be angry reactions.
Yeah, I got the pleasure to listen to your album prior to this interview. It was like, oh man, I really need to understand what I just heard and what I just read in the lyric video, because when you approach to an album, your songwriting is really detailed and really deep. You research really well for your songs, for your lyrics, and the concept of your new album is the World War One, First World War. And what was the final inspiration that you guys felt you wanted the new album to be about World War One?
You see, we are about 100 years past World War One now, and I think that there was so many things happening around this the past few years, and this has led to that a lot of our fans have sent in ideas. Please write about this, please write about that. And a lot of the focus has been this period of time, the past few years, which led that we had a massive amount of ideas. And also when we were thinking about what kind of topics we're gonna do for our upcoming album, we kind of thought like, okay, we have so many different ideas, but all of them we can do in the future. But the topic about First World War it doesn't make only sense, we can do it anytime, but it makes most sense to do it now. That was why we decided to do that one here and now.
Amazing. And I just have written down the persons you are singing about, and I think one person really struck to my mind, and it was the unnamed soldier, I think, during the song Great War. And this song kind of made you feel with this soldier, because he was like having a mental breakdown, and you have to come up with these feelings and transcribing these feelings of a soldier with these lyrics. And I think it's really important to deliver this message to the audience. And what were your resources to write lyrics like these for Great War?
There, that's the inspiration. I was reading around a lot about. This was during the Battle of Passchendaele. That's where this story takes place, and I was trying to get into this mood and to find something that represented this. We asked the art designer behind the cover artwork of the new album we gave him some kind of directions what we wanted, and when we saw this, I was inspired and I was trying to get into the mood of that. The mood of that is pretty horrible, and that's how the song kind of turned out. It became a quite emotional song. Also, I wanted to ask the question kind of, not necessarily what was the purpose of the war, not that, but more because of the name of the war is kind of controversial. That's why it's also the title of the new album, The Great War. But what is so damn great about it? That was the whole concept behind the song.
It's also that something that really let me think about it, because you start every song with some kind of narrative, and the question, what is so great about war? It really reminds me about another quote. I don't know if you are really known of video games, but Fallout asked the question, war never changes, or does war ever change? What do you think about that?
War evolves. I'm familiar with the game and the quote, and I think it's a great one. War evolves. And it continues to evolve. And a few, I don't know, some time ago, I received a question if I believe that there will be a war in space where we will be flying around in spaceship and shooting at each other. And I do actually think so, because war is always on the frontier of everything. I don't think that I will live that day, but I think as long as there are humans, there will be ways of killing each other, and they will develop with what we are. We are now seeing war going into cyberspace more as computer becomes a more bigger part of our lives. And I think that wherever we go, war will follow, unfortunately.
Right, but let's now get to something more positive again. Yeah, it's something that my audience really interested, I think. And there are different ways of a band to arrange new songs and stuff like that. Sometimes there is a mastermind coming up with song ideas, lyrics, and even a structure. And sometimes a band is just jamming out, recording stuff, and they think, whoa, this riff is so awesome, we need to record a song all around this riff.
We would be the first part. I mean, we would be the ones who kind of work alone with the idea of a song. Mainly it's our singer who would come up with the whole idea for the song. He would also kind of make a demo very close to the final final song, how it's gonna sound like in the end. So and then when everybody gets the presentation, like here is an idea for a song, it's already very well written, and we, of course, everybody adds a little bit to it, like small changes, but it's kind of close to the final. So we are not really standing in the rehearsal room and practicing and trying out things together. We are touring so much that we rarely rehearse at all. You see, we do quite a lot of shows all around the world, and also that the stuff that we have around, it's not so easy as it used to be. In the beginning, we could just take the guitars and play a little bit. These days, we barely know where the guitars are because our production is constantly traveling around the world, and there are a lot of things that we kind of need in order to practice and play the songs together, which makes it actually more convenient, easier, and better if we set up in wherever we go on tour. So if we're gonna start a tour in America, for example, we would go over a couple of days earlier, hire a studio, and then we would take in the production with the crew members and rehearse like it would be a concert. And because it's a much more convenient way for us these days.
Right, and you have now made your path, and you are now quite a professional band, I might say. And thinking back to your early years, do you remember when you first picked up a bass?
I do. There were 4 guys with long hair in school, and a couple of them decided to form a band and asked if I wanted to be part of it because I had long hair. I said I couldn't really play anything, and they said, it doesn't matter, we will teach you. So a good friend of mine who became my best friend during these years, he set out on the mission, I will teach you to play, and then we can have a great band together. And that is how I remember starting it.
This is quite awesome. So your inspiration were your friends at school that were like looking for a long-haired guy that would suit in a band. That's really funny. It's nice. And has your family been supportive throughout the first years of your band, your first band or something like that?
Through the first years, definitely. They are totally supported in the beginning. Then they become a bit worried when it was taking a lot of time and not generating any money. Then they become a little bit worried, like how are you gonna survive and stuff. So during this time they were still supportive, but they were worried. Today they are not worried, they are only supportive.
So this kind of also evolved, this relationship. And were you feeling any troubled or concerned yourself? Have you had any thoughts you would like disappoint your family throughout these years?
With the music, no. I don't think so. I mean, okay, so my father maybe wanted me to be an electrician and to follow in his trails, but I think he's more happy with me being on the stage these days. And they've always been very supportive this way, so...
That's really awesome, and I think you can count yourself as a really lucky guy concerning that perspective. And continuing with other like ideas for guitar beginners, I think the audience who will watch this interview really want to know your number one advice for those who are starting out. I mean, in this business, you really have to have the ambition and the bite to reach your goals. But it is something more, I think, because there are so many bands struggling hard to get somewhere. So what would be your number one tip for those who are just evolving?
Okay, there are many. I have a lot of tips and for the different things. But when somebody starts out and have a new band, when people form a band, for example, and each and every one must first ask themselves if this is really something I want to do. And because you can't push something, you definitely will not survive in music business or music industry or on the stage or whatever if you really don't want to do it, because it's not gonna be easy road. But it is fantastically fun, and if this is something you really want to do, then I definitely think you should go down that road. But then you must also ask yourself to look and really carefully look at the people around you, the people in your band. Do they also want to go there? And do they want to be on the stage or behind the stage? Because there's a lot of people who are attracted to the rock and roll scene. They want to be in the backstage, they want to drink beers, they want to feel famous. If this is what attracts people, then I think that they are looking for the wrong thing. But if they really want to be on the stage, playing the music, playing whatever songs, whatever instrument they play, then this is an important thing for the start. Otherwise, I doubt it's gonna work out in the long run. This might be some things. But and then I think music has to be fun. It's important. And then it's a lot of hard work.
I think this is really a huge amount of tips, because this is also something that I notice around the area where I rehearse with my band, that some people are really like celebrating themselves for being on stage rather on playing on stage and like see what the audience does, because nothing is more amazing than seeing the people really enjoy your work and going with the music, understand what you want to tell them. And speaking of that, you firstly started also playing in clubs. And soon it got bigger and bigger, really huge. And when you found yourself on a really big stage, like thousands of people waiting for you for the first time ever, do you remember how you felt when you wanted to step on the stage playing for that many people?
The first time on a big stage, probably a little bit nervous, but not necessarily because of all the people. But because for us, the first time we played on a bigger stage was at the Sweden Rock Festival, the biggest rock festival in Sweden. And there were so many people we knew in the crowd. And to live up to their expectations and to prove them wrong, this put a lot of pressure onto us. And I think this was the trigger to be a bit nervous. We were, of course, very excited, and once you start playing, always the nervousity, it goes away. Once you start playing, it's just turning from nervous to fun, and it still does today. Even if we are not that nervous as we maybe were, 20 years ago or something, these days we still have a little bit left in us of that, and it comes and goes with the different variations. If we do a lot of different things in our show, I mean, let's say we play a lot of new songs, or we have something new on the stage, there might be something happening, some guest artist or things like this, then we get nervous, because then something gets outside of our comfort zone. But to just go onto the stage and just play the stuff that we have done so many times, we are just excited about it. And there was a time in SABATON history where we kind of were so... we thought we were nervous, so we had drinks before we went onto the stage. We changed this completely, I think in 2006, 2007 sometime, and we felt, okay, this is no good at all, because if the people have come here to see us, they should not get a drunk band on the stage. So we owe the people who come here the best show possible. And once we stopped having drinks before the stage, we started to look forward to the stage even more. So it was just cheating ourselves with the drinks before the stage. It was not needed. And these days we absolutely have nothing like that. We are so excited to go onto the stage and play, because after all, this was the most fun thing we were looking forward to. And if we would lose that, then I don't think we should continue with the band.
It's really amazing how reflective you are in that way. Just have one question concerning the new songs, because you say you're pretty nervous when you're playing something out of your comfort zone. So out of all the new songs you have recorded, what is the song that will give you maybe goosebumps on stage? Do you have like a path?
I am looking forward to play the song Great War live. I think it's kind of a mixture between our songs Carolus Rex and Primo Victoria. And both of those songs are fantastic to play live. And I think also this one will be very well received by the fans. So in this case, I'm looking forward to perform it live, definitely.
Cool. I hope to see footage of that one really soon. And also, speaking of things that changed, I just noticed that you have kind of got new guitar players in the band that changed throughout the years. And how did you get your new guitarists? Have there been any auditions or some kind of selective events? I don't know how this process is going on in a professional band like yours.
We didn't need an audition for any one of them. So, I mean, over the years, first we had Tobbe and Chris joining. And when they joined in 2012, it was just through phone calls and a quick meeting. So Chris' audition was at the airport in Stockholm. We had a beer and he just fly down from the north of Sweden. We shake hands, we had a beer, and we sent him back on the plane to pick up the guitar and move to our city. That's how quick it was. And I think the kind of the same with Tobbe. He also flew down, we met him in Stockholm. He was also from the north. And we met him one day, we went out, had some drinks. And in the morning he was flying back to the north of Sweden, and when he landed, he was calling me and he was like, what do you think, guys? You didn't say anything yet. And I said, well, we have nothing more to discuss. Pick up your guitar, quit your job, and move down here immediately. And that's what he did. Tommy was, who is the latest guitar player, he was actually the one we approached first. So me and Joachim, we found out that he was living in a city not so far away from us, even though he's also from the north of Sweden. But we knew him since 2005 when we met him the first time, and he wanted to take a picture of us. We knew him from the past. He's a guitar player, he's a singer, and he's a songwriter, and he's a lot of stuff. And we knew him, and we went down to see him and asked if he wanted to join the band. He said actually that this time he said, I would love to, but I'm so busy with my own stuff at the moment, so I don't really feel like I want to join your band at the moment, but thank you for the offer. A few years later, we gave him the offer again, and he was like, yeah, I really want to do that. It was a better timing. He kind of stopped his own career, gave it up a little bit because it didn't work out, and some people that he were trusting they were not so nice to him. So at this time he was kind of losing hope that he would be playing any music when I called him and asked if he wanted to come and join us on the tour. And he came and joined us on the tour, hang out with us a couple of days, and then he said, yeah guys, of course I want to join the band. And since then he was constantly with us, and he was playing the guitar on the stage with us before anybody knew it. So he was, because this is the way he practiced the songs with us. So with headphones and a dark coat, he was standing playing the guitar in the corner of the stage where nobody could see him, to practice the songs until he was ready to go onto the stage. So we didn't really have any rehearsal at all with him. We knew he was good, talented guitar player. We knew he liked SABATON, and we knew he would be able to do it. So it was really funny to see him, in the corner of the stage, and between the songs when we were kind of going off the stage, maybe to tune the guitars and drink some water. We saw Tommy in the corner, and we're like, yeah, hello, sounds good, And sometimes we even had him in the monitors, in the in-ear monitors, so we could hear how he was playing, So then we had 3 guitars listening to.
I think I never heard about something like that. I imagine him really standing there in the corner of the stage, and it's feeling really awkward. So have you ever asked him how he felt like when he was standing there doing that?
Yes, we asked him, of course, when he was there, and he was doing absolutely fine with it. He was like feeling, though he was like, I feel I'm ready to go out on the stage right now. So he was like pushing, when can I do it, And we said let's do it at a special night, and the same night when Tobbe was saying goodbye, and we decided to make it on the Sabaton festival, so to make it a little bit of a special night for all the people and a little bit of drama to introduce him. And we played that show with 3 guitar players after we introduced Tommy.
This looks like really an awesome story with a happy end. And to come to the point where you are now, you might have encountered some battles in Sabaton yourself. And among all the battles, all the struggles you have kind of experienced throughout the years, getting bigger fan base and everything, what do you think was the biggest struggle ever for you guys in Sabaton and for you?
Yeah, we had a massive split in the band in 2012, where 4 of the band members went one way and me and Joachim went another way. We were obviously not so different in musical influences or what that we wanted to play, because the other guy formed a band which kind of plays similar music. So it was not about that. It was more about, I had the vision to play so much more. We were already playing quite a lot in 2010, 11 and stuff, but I wanted to play even more. And some people who have been in the band now for 13 years, they were like, oh, it's a little bit too much for us, and it takes so much time already, and you want to do it even harder. And I said yes, because I want to take it all the way to the top now, and I feel that we can possibly reach it, but we need to put in a little bit more fuel now. And that was not for everybody. So then we went separate ways, and this was, of course, a struggle. And we were not even sure that we would be able to put it together with a new band, And I think the first time we played together with sort of the new lineup was a magical moment, because we barely met each other before that, all of us at the same time. And then we hired a club. And we brought there our crew members and set up the whole stage. And then we didn't know if it's going to work out or not. So we had the crew members as a kind of a judge. And then we just, okay, let's play a song and see how it goes. And we started to play, and we saw the smiles of the crew guys. And then we felt, okay, we're on.
I think it's always the thing that your priorities change throughout the years, and you have to know whether you really want to push through or not. And when I just read about something about you, I just found out that you're a pyrotechnician and also do lots of management stuff. So what's like not to only be a bass player, but doing all these things, because it can be overwhelming from time to time, I think.
I always see it like, there comes something that needs a solution. And solutions don't come by themselves. They need to be solved. And I'm the kind of person who can't sit and watch something not happen or not be. So I always try to push myself into that direction. And I guess, for the past 20 years, I developed into what I am today. And I would say that the actual playing, it doesn't take a lot of time for me these days. It's more about all the other stuff that I do. And the pyrotechnician was, we all wanted pyros on the stage, but it was too expensive to hire a company for it. So I decided I get my own education. I built my own system for it. And then we suddenly had pyrotechnics on the stage. And we did this, this kind of solutions we found over all the years. If we needed to transport ourselves somewhere, we make sure that we figure out to do it in the best possible way. And when we couldn't rent a tour bus because they became too expensive, we bought and rebuilt an old one to our own tour bus. And over all the years, we have constantly innovated our own ways and our own solutions, because we never had a management. We never had anybody to tell us what to do. It was always us figuring out, like, okay, here we need to do this. How do we do it? We figure it out. And again, I'm the kind of guy who doesn't sit and watch things not happen. So if I really want to make something happen, I have to make sure that it happens by ourselves.
That's really ambitious. And speaking of the bite, we had like further in the first part of the interview, it's also something bands are struggling with. Should I get a management deal, or should I get a manager? Should I do it by myself? What would be your advice concerning that matter? Because at some points you cannot do everything on your own. I think the more complex it gets. So what do you think about this?
I think that each and everyone must ask themselves what they really want to do. And there are a lot of people who want only to play, and they should focus on that then. You should not push to do the other things, because something that is forced to be done is not necessarily going to be turning out good. It's usually not going to turn out good. And I enjoy all this stuff, so I'm fine with it. And does it come to a time when it's too much? Yeah, of course, if I would do everything by myself. But today I built a team around, and we are quite big organization doing the management for SABATON. Still, I am the one who points the directions and do that. But we are now a big team around SABATON. And should other bands get a management or a booking agency and stuff? I always say that first of all, a band should be quite good on what they do before they reach out, because I think it's so easy to be tricked or cheated. So start by producing your own songs and writing your own stuff and playing a little bit of shows, and learn yourself about things before somebody comes and tells you how to do it. So at least you can ask questions and understand a little bit of the background of it. I do not believe that you should be how do I say it, like naive and not understanding what you are doing. It would be absolutely foolish. I meet so many bands that have no clue what they are doing, and they trust their management and they trust their record labels, and it's good with trust. It's definitely good with trust, but it's even better with trust and a little bit of facts and knowledge and control maybe. And I think that people should pay a little bit more attention to their own lives and their own futures than put everything in the hands of others. So before anybody goes out and get themselves a management or booking agency, I think that they should learn to do the job themselves, and then maybe find it afterwards when they really feel that they need it. Because if your first concern as a band is to get a management or a booking agency, I don't think that is the right way to go. Your first concern should be to get some songs together and play and focus on that, because without that, you don't need the other things. There is no need for booking something that doesn't exist. There is no need for managing something that has no substance. So make sure that the band is good before doing the other stuff.
And you're speaking of responsibility, because you need to really be responsible for all you're doing in order to then know where you want to head. And you have to know what kind of elements you want to get into your band and what kind of deals you want to get into your band to get to this goal. And this is also something that really is important. And I also think another thing that really is important is how to approach to actually recording stuff. So who takes the responsibility of planning all the record stuff on SABATON's side? Because everything has to be planned thoughtfully and has to be arranged thoughtfully to get a good product out of it.
Sure, and it has to be. We go to a studio, and it's usually one person at a time doing their stuff. We are rarely there, all the band at the same time. So then it means that the recording has to be, of course, planned. And this is something we learn over time. In the beginning, in the first recordings, we had no idea how the band gonna work together, and we needed to improvise a little bit. We were more of us all the time in the studio. But as we do more and more albums, we start to figure out how it suits our needs. And I think this is quite unique for each and every band. And I think that each and every band need to find their own what works for them. And there are those bands that needs to be there all the time to push each other. There are those who can rely on a good sound engineer to know what it is, or a producer or something like that. And there are those who do it themselves. So I would leave this up to each and every band to find out. And I think that it's important to test things, to try things. This is important for any band.
Right. I think we are now kind of heading to the end of the interview. And this is why I want to ask one of my last questions, which is, how do you actually celebrate the release of Great War on July 19th?
That is one of the most magical moments when we have done something. It's to present it, to give it to the people, to see the fans' reactions of something that we have been working with so hard. Once we have recorded it, we can't wait to release it. We wish it happened the day after, because this is a kind of a troublesome and nightmarish time. Even though it's fun to tease people sometimes, but I would rather skip the whole process and just have it out instantly. And if we could somehow be in the studio, and then just after we have like, now it's final mastering and it's all done, and then we just click share, and then the whole world gets it instantly, I would be very happy, because I think that it's the most rewarding of the whole thing about making music is to, for me at least, and for most of us in the band, is to see the reactions of the people and to get the feedback. This is an amazing moment. And so this is why we are all looking forward to July 19. And we will be sitting and reading all the comments and checking all over internet what people say about the new album and this. And until then, we're going to read a couple of reviews, and we're going to talk to the people like you who have heard the album. But I'm really excited when the most of the people gets to hear it on July 19.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your time answering these questions. I think we have learned a lot concerning basic stuff, recording stuff, and approaches, and I really want to say thank you so much for this awesome interview.
It was really cool to actually know how these guys work, how a successful band works together, and I'm pretty happy Per shared some of his advice for you or for me. And this is something I'm very grateful for. So thanks again for this amazing experience. Thanks to David, Markus and Per from SABATON. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. Put in the comments below how you like this kind of video. So maybe I get the chance again to meet guys of bands I really love and give you or share stuff of them together with you. Thoughts, inspirations, tips. So just tell me what you thought about this video. At this point, I want to say many thanks to all of my patrons at Patreon supporting me there. And special thanks go to Maik, Michael, Maik number 2, Adelyn, Guillermo, Matt, Ryan, Jonah, Bruno-Pierre, Trey, Harald, and the Sarnia Breakfast Club. You guys rule, you make so much stuff possible for me. And if you guys want to become a patron yourself, just head to my page patreon.com/JassyJ, and you will find awesome rewards waiting for you there, starting from a $1 pledge per month, where you can just suggest songs and participate at the monthly guitar cover voting. For example, the Skillet cover was Patreon voted, For Horseman was Patreon voted, Skater Boy was Patreon voted, Duality was Patreon voted, so just step by. Also, you get the chance to purchase some guitar lessons as a reward there on Patreon. Yeah, otherwise I'm working on many other covers, and be sure to check out my channel on Friday for a brand new SABATON cover. Yay! It's from the new album, actually. Yeah, so just stay tuned and rock on!